Welcome back to Trailer Trash Flips. My name is Mac, and I buy things to sell mostly on eBay, but a little bit on Mercari and a little bit on Facebook Marketplace, and try to make a profit. Today is Monday. I've got 12 orders going out from the weekend, and I think one or two that came in today, for a total of $226.43. Usually I'm pretty happy when I get over $200. Actually, lately I'm pretty happy when I have sales days or sales weekends over 100 because things have been not quite so great. But I am very happy that I was able to make over $200 because that's something that doesn't happen for me very often these days. I went to quite a few garage sales and estate sales this weekend. As far as the garage sales go, I'm telling you, I am not exaggerating. I don't think there were any less than 50 or 60 garage sales in my area. Obviously, I didn't go to anywhere close to that many, but I really couldn't believe how many there were going on. For some reason, there were quite a few estate sales that were ending Saturday, and normally here, most estate sales end Sunday. But because there were some ending Saturday, I had to split up time between garage sales, those estate sales, and then I also went to estate sale Sunday. So I brought in a fair amount of new inventory this weekend that we'll look at after I show you what's sold. The first item going out is a bag of miscellaneous parts for a vintage rival Grind-O-Matic meat grinder. It has the blade, the tamper, the collar, a couple dies, and the little spiral thing, whatever that's called. And it sold for $23.59 plus shipping. I picked up the whole meat grinder at an estate sale. It was marked as $5. It was half off. And the meat grinder itself was in really bad shape. But I knew the individual parts by themselves would be valuable. And instead of me listing the dies and the collar and all that separate, I just put the whole lot together. Next, I sold 2 Wilton pineapple pewter dishes. Here's a little bit better look at what they look like not wrapped up. And together, these sold for $23.80 plus shipping. I picked these up from an estate sale for either $2 or $3 a piece. I've got some PCS orthotic inserts going out. These sold for $9 plus shipping, and I sold these on an offer that I sent out. I think I had these listed for about $12, and I sent an offer out for $9, and they sold pretty quickly. Next, I've got some large size male doggy diapers going out. These sold for $10 plus shipping. I had them listed for, I think, $12.95. I sent an offer out on this, and they accepted for $10. These I got from the bin store for $1 per pack. I've got 3 of them. They've been sitting in my death pile quite some time, and I finally got around to getting these listed. Next, I sold a Maxpedition hard use gear micro wallet. I had this listed for, I think, around $15 something or $16 plus shipping. A buyer sent me a message saying they would buy it all in for $18, and I accepted that offer. This came from an estate sale, and I think I left that estate sale paying like $4 and something for a whole bunch of stuff, this included. So I really have like $1 or less into it. I sold some filament for a 3D printer. This is PLA matte filament red, 1.75 millimeter. This came from the bin store for 50 cents. I've had just a little bit of interest in it. It's been listed for a really long time. But some of the potential buyers were asking me questions that I didn't know the answer to. Now, it does have a barcode on it, and I tried to cross-reference this with listings on Amazon because that's where this was originally sold from. But unfortunately, I only knew the information that I had put into the listing, and it was fairly minimal. I do know the size is 1.75 millimeter, and it's a PLA matte filament. But beyond that, I couldn't answer some of their questions. Now, what I did, I think it was last Thursday night, I took about 120 of my items, and I listed them, well, I just cut the price on them. I listed them significantly lower than what they were already listed. And on those items, I was putting like $1, $2, $3 per item. This was one of those things. I don't remember what I had it listed at before. I think it was around $7 and some change, but I listed it for $3, and it sold fairly quickly. Part of the reason that I lowered my prices that much on these items was, one, it was kind of an experiment just to see if just a blowout low price was going to get some of these items moving. And I will say that several of the items that I lowered the price on did sell. You're going to see even more of those here in just a minute. But also, most of these were older items. I've had this over a year. And I felt maybe a little handicapped in that I didn't know as much about it as I should, but a couple buyers had questions on this that I simply couldn't answer. So on a lot of these items, I just wanted to blow them out and get some things moving. Now, on a side note, I would love to have a 3D printer. And there's only one reason right now that I don't have one, and it's that I don't have the time to mess with it. There are a couple things that I want to make for myself, but also knowing that I could make some things for resale, things that are just not readily available. Like one of the things that I want to make is simply not available anywhere that I can find. When I was talking to my brother about it, he's like, man, that would be cool. If you do get a printer, make me one also. So there are some reasons for me to have one for personal use, but also knowing that I can make all kinds of things and resell them. One of the items that I found at the bin store probably over a year ago was a little 3D printed shelf. This shelf was marketed as a shelf for some kind of baby monitor or something. But I bought that shelf for myself so that when I'm in my kitchen standing at my stove or my sink, I can put my phone on it and usually have some YouTube playing. So for those type of things, I think a 3D printer would be pretty handy. And like I said, to be able to sell some items too. So this sold for $3 plus shipping, and it came from the bin store for 50 cents. I sold another 3-pack of Kenmore refrigerator filters for $4 plus shipping. These came from the bin store. I've got a total of $1.50 into these. The next item going out is some Arctic's Men's Storm Rain Pants, size 4XL. These sold for $6 plus shipping, and these came from the bin store for $1. Now, those were listed for about $15, and they have not sat around for as long as things like the filament has. But I decided to mark those down, and they sold pretty quick also. The next item I sold is a vintage Easy Money board game from 1956. This sold for $10.24 plus shipping, and it came from an estate sale. I do not remember how much I paid for it, probably $2 or maybe $2.50. I don't like putting much more than that into board games at all. I really don't even like buying board games. It's not that I have a problem with board games, but for me, board games are kind of like shoes. They will sit around and sit around and sit around and not sell. I don't remember what the comps were on this game when I bought it, but I think they were strong enough where I was thinking maybe I can get $20 or so for it. Well, what has happened time and time and time again with board games is no matter what the comps say, they just sit and they don't sell. So the price on this one has been slowly reduced. And while I'm talking about it, I want to go through and look and see what the comps are on this particular game. I'm looking at product research on eBay right now, and I see the same exact board game in very comparable condition that sold for $38.16 free shipping. I do see a couple comps that are on the low side. Here's another one that went for $29 free shipping, another that went for $23.99 free shipping, another one went for $30 free shipping, and another went for $35 free shipping. So comparing this to some of the ones that have free shipping, it's not really that bad. However, some did go for more money. But for the most part nowadays, I don't pick up too many board games. I do have a few more board games in my death pile that I've definitely been putting off listing because I think board games are probably at the bottom of the list of things I like to list. Well, they probably share that with clothes. I hate listing clothes. But with the board games, I have to go through them, try to make sure that they're complete. And if they're not complete, I don't want to hold on to parts and just sell parts. So I'll end up just throwing them away. But I do really hate doing that. So unless it's a board game that's really worth some money, I'm probably not going to pick any more up. The next item is a Crown Royal limited edition football zipper bag. This sold for $18.80 plus shipping. I've got one more of these left, and I also had two more that were very similar, but they had the New Orleans Saints on here instead of the Crown Royal symbol. All of these came from a gun show that I went to. I had bought a couple items from a guy there. It was like some older military items. Well, he also had a free pile. And all four of the bags that I picked up were in that free pile. So I don't have any money into those. And I was wondering if these were going to sell because the ones that had the New Orleans Saints symbol on them, they sold relatively quickly. These have been sitting around for a really long time. So I'm glad to see this one finally go. The next item going out is a 1957 General Electric TripMate tube radio. I picked this up from a family-run estate sale probably late last year. Now this sold for $75 plus shipping. I only found one active. I didn't find any solds. When I listed it, I only found one active, and it was pretty high up there. So I ended up listing this one for some crazy amount, like $175, figuring I would let it sit for a while and just see what happens. The only thing that ended up happening was I got some views, a couple watchers here and there, but I really didn't see a lot of interest. So like a lot of my items, I've been slowly reducing the price. I don't remember exactly how much my last price was, maybe around $130 or $140. And I finally said, you know what, this has been sitting for long enough. So I cut the price to $75 and it sold almost instantly. I was really surprised that this was even still at that estate sale, because I went on a Sunday later in the day and it had a price of $20 on it and they were doing 50% off. So I've only got $10 into it. And the last item going out is a vintage Radio Shack executive decision maker. It's got 6 different possible answers. They are definitely, ask again, never, forget it, why not, and possibly. And it works fine. You put batteries in it, you turn it on, and you push the ask button, and it just randomly picks one of the answers. I remember getting this from an estate sale and comping it, and saw comps around $12 or $15 at that time. I don't know how long this thing has actually been listed, but it's a relatively short amount of time because, you guessed it, it was in my death pile. But when I did go to list it, I saw the comps were actually stronger now than what they were when I originally bought it, because I think I have $2 or $3 into it, and I was seeing comps around 12 or 15. So that's not exactly a great flip. But when I checked comps recently, when I listed it, I saw comps into the $20-something range. So oftentimes people talk about, if you get something, go ahead and list it because the market could go down. Well, this is a clear example that the market can also go up. And I know a lot of people realize that. I was just making a point that it did go up on this item. So that's everything going out on eBay today, but I do have a Facebook Marketplace item that I have to go do a meetup for. So the item I'm talking about is a 6-inch bathroom exhaust fan. Now here's the crazy part. These things have been listed for about a month. And right at the top of the listing, I put that I do not respond to, is this still available? And probably 98% of people just send, is this still available? And I learned right at the beginning of me using Facebook Marketplace, at least in my experience, people who just put, is this still available, by and large are not serious buyers. I know the few things that I've bought on Facebook Marketplace, I actually write my own message, and I found the same thing with people who are trying to buy items from me. They actually write a message out instead of using that standard response. As a matter of fact, I have never sold one item on Facebook Marketplace to someone who just did the, is this still available thing. They always write their own message. So now I don't even respond to those messages. I say that right in the beginning of the description that I do not respond to that, and I don't. But moving on, I have 3 of these fans. I purchased these from the bin store for I think $4 a piece, and I have them listed for $20 each, or if they buy all 3 of them, for $50. So I'm scheduled to go meet somebody at 4 p.m. today to get these 3 fans. But just about an hour ago, I got a message from someone wanting to buy just one of the fans. So I need to message that second potential buyer and let them know that I have a transaction in the works, but if something falls through, then I'll let them know. So let's have a look at some of the things I picked up this weekend at garage sales and estate sales. I do want to tell you right up front, I am not proud of some of these purchases. Some of them are just not really going to be that good. But be that as it may, let me show you what I picked up. And some of these will probably be good, and some of them not so much. So let's just get this stuff here out of the way. We went to a garage sale that, well, look, this garage sale had a lot of designer purses, Coach, Louis Vuitton, Dooney and Burke, and they were all counterfeit. So Kim was looking at those, and I'm like, look, if you want to get one of those for yourself, or, you know, for your daughter or something, okay, but do not get any of those to try to resell them. And I'm not really even that good at spotting fakes, but I could tell from a mile away that these were fake. So anyway, at that garage sale, I picked up these 4, I think these are Burger King. Yeah, these are Burger King collector's glasses. There's the Jungle Book, Lion King, Peter Pan, and Pinocchio. They're still in the boxes, but well, 3 of the boxes are not that bad. This one's in kind of bad shape. But I didn't comp any of these items at the garage sale, and I probably should have. But I saw these, and they were only $1. So I picked those up. And look, there are solds on these singularly $3, $4, $5, $6 a piece. And some people lock them up into 4s or 6s, and they may go for $20, $25, $30. So it's not really all that bad. It's just the boxes are not in as good a shape as I wish they were. And I also picked up this Fiesta Pelican. I comped this when I got back to the car, and I saw it's worth about $12 free shipping. But that's okay, because he was only $2, and I'll just put him up on my shelf with my other plush. I think he's kind of cool anyway, so I'll just hold on to him. At a garage sale that I went to, I picked up, was it just 2 items there? It seemed like I had something else, but I guess not. So the first thing was this crawfish decor. Let's see. Yeah, it just says crawfish decor. So this is some type of wall art. It's kind of got texture on it. Initially, I was not going to buy it because I saw these spots. But when I touch them, they're really smooth. So I don't think that there's a problem with this. I think that's actually like patina that's made into the piece. I don't think that there's any issue. I don't think it's a thing where some of the color got rubbed off. I think it's just how this piece was made. So this was $3, and I saw that originally they had paid $20 for it. So I just thought it was a neat piece, and people around here really like crawfish stuff. I also picked up this crab trap kit. This is not a crab net. It's one of the coated steel traps. Now, I couldn't find this anywhere. I couldn't find this brand, and I couldn't find this trap. Now, this is not one of the big commercial traps, but I think comparable ones go for about $25 or $30, and they only had it marked for $3. I picked up 3 of these Milwaukee M12 fuel zipper bags. They're nothing special, but they are in pretty good shape, other than the fact that a couple of them have a little dirt on the outside. I got 3 of these total, and I paid $2 a piece for those. Comps look like they're going for around $15 each. So I picked up all this stuff from one of the estate sales, probably my favorite estate sale company to deal with. I got 2 cookbooks. You could have guessed that I was going to pick up cookbooks. Now this cookbook, a Louisiana seafood cookbook, I only saw 2 solds in the last, well, really 3 years when I looked at product research. And both of them only sold for like $8 or $9, which I find kind of strange because this doesn't appear to be a cookbook that they have a whole lot of out there. And this one also has some very good recipes in it. Pickled shrimp, Louisiana shrimp sauce piquant. Let me find some other stuff. Shrimp etouffee, jambalaya, boiled shrimp, beer boiled shrimp, filet gumbo d'écrevisse, crawfish dip, crawfish stew a la microwave, crawfish cheese pie. So this one has a lot of really good South Louisiana recipes in it. Crawfish omelet. I mean, it just goes on and on. So I don't know if this is one that I'm going to end up keeping for myself or selling. My personal cookbook collection has really gotten a little bit out of control. But, you know, like I said, I've never ran across this one before, and it's really good. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that one yet. And this is a church cookbook. It's not bad. It's probably going to be a $10 or $12 cookbook. I don't want to say it's run-of-the-mill, but it's your standard cookbook with some Louisiana type recipes also added in. So I got those 2 cookbooks. I picked up this Geico sun visor, which it almost looks like it's brand new. It says Geico on the back. Oh, and by the way, everything was 50% off at this estate sale. So this was only $1. I did try to comp it, didn't see anything, but I went ahead and picked it up. Now this looks pretty cool. They had it marked for $7.50, and it's clips from season 4 of Friends. Some kind of tiny TV thing. It's got a real working mini remote. It says try me. Let's see. No, I guess the batteries are dead. Yeah, I guess the batteries are dead in it. but I don't think it's ever been used or opened. And I did comp this, and I think I can probably get about $30 or $35 for it. So that's pretty neat. I found this thing here. I asked the lady at the estate sale if she knew what it was. I saw on the bottom it says number 5 of 10, some kind of collection. I can't read it right now. And she said that it looked like something that you put on top of something else, and there's a straw hole to drink out of. I don't know what it would go to. So I do need to do a little more research on it. It didn't have a price. I asked her how much, and she said $5 normally. So it would be $2.50 today. But like I said, I need to do some more research on it and see if it's something that's going to have some value or not. I found a Presto salad shooter, which in and of itself is not really that big a deal because I run across these fairly often. Now this one was taped up. It was completely sealed, but it had just regular packing tape on it, and I couldn't tell if it had ever been opened and resealed or what. And I asked the lady at the estate sale if they taped it shut, and she said no. She's like, why don't you go ahead and open it and you can look at it and see if it's brand new or not. So I did, and it is brand new in the box. Now normally I pay like $2.50 to $5 for salad shooters, and I've watched the price kind of fluctuate on these with how much I can actually get for them. The high side of a brand new in the box or maybe open box salad shooter might be around $40 or just over $40, and on the low side it's going to be 20 something. But being that this one is literally brand new, I was debating on whether to list it as open box, because I think sometimes the open box designation can mean more than one thing. Like open box to me should kind of mean that the box is just open. But I think for some people it means they took it out and messed with it and put it back. And this one has never been messed with. So I don't know how I'm going to list it yet, but I'll probably go with open box and put in the description that it was only opened for photos and inspection. So yeah, I'm going to list it a little on the high side, and if it sits for a while, that's okay, being that it is brand new, and I'm pretty sure they don't make these anymore. It was marked 20, and since it was half off, it ended up only being 10, but I would like to be able to make $20 or $25 on it. The next item is a country cutter. These are made by a person from Arkansas, and they travel around to craft shows, and they sell these at the craft show. And not only do they sell them at the craft show, they actually use them to cut potatoes and onion straws, and then they sell the potatoes and onion straws also. The one that I have, I bought probably 7 or 8 years ago, and I've used it a lot. And the way it works is you push this piece down, you slide this thing back, which I can't slide it back all the way one-handed. You put your potato or your onion here, and then you just spin it, and it spiral slices as it goes. I did notice when I was at the estate sale that the lady that runs it had actually cut her finger on this blade. Now the blade is incredibly sharp. So what she did was she ran this thing all the way into the blade. Now the blade is a little bit kind of crinkle cut right there. I don't think it's going to affect the performance of it though. So I think whenever I go to list it, I'm actually going to make a video of it cutting a potato. That way I'll know for sure that the blade isn't compromised and the potential buyer can see it working. I did find one of these at a thrift store earlier this year, and I ended up selling it for about $35. It was brand new, and to tell you the truth, this one may be brand new, but if I'm testing it out and showed it in a video, I will list it as pre-owned. So hopefully nothing is wrong with the blade, but this had a $10 sticker on it, so I ended up paying $5. The next item I found was this American Dream Products Tomorrow's Treasure lap frame and stand. This was opened up whenever I got there and does not appear to ever have been used. I did find one sold for this for $35 plus shipping, and they had it marked 5, so I only ended up paying $2.50. And then in the room that had board games, I found these two. And I know just earlier I was talking about board games, but I don't consider these a typical board game. They had tic-tac-toe and a stackability game. These were priced at $3 each normally, so I only ended up paying $1.50 for each one. And at $1.50, I think the comps were running, I don't remember exactly, maybe 15 or so for this one. And this one may have been a little bit more, I don't remember, but it was good enough for me to pick up. At the next estate sale that I went to, I picked up these 3 items. First, there is a Yamaha Portasound. Now again, this estate sale was 50% off, so this ended up being $750 after discount. I saw 2 recent sold comps on it. One was for, I think, $15, and it was like parts only, not tested. But the other sold comp was for $70. So I took it out, checked the battery compartment. It was clean, but I don't know if it works or not, so I still have to test that out. But if it does work, this might be a pretty good find. The next thing there that was giving me a little bit of frustration was the learning clock, like a time card punch clock. Now, I thought this was really cool in that you've got these little time card things you can put in. Let's try this one. And the hands move to correspond with whatever cards you put in. And then when you're ready to reset it, you pull that back, take your cards out. Now, I could not find any comps on this item. I did find, what is this called? The learning clock. I did find some other items by the learning clock, but I couldn't find this one. And that's really why I ended up buying it, because if it's something that there's just not a whole lot of out there, I'll definitely take a chance on it. So this was another thing that was marked 10, and so I only had to pay 5 for it. And the last item from that estate sale is this Indiana 2nd edition 1999. I don't know if teddy bear is the right term for this, but he's like a refinery worker. He has an Amoco hard hat. It was marked 15, so of course I only paid $7.50. He has a really cool little Amoco pouch there. And he's just outfitted like he's ready to do some work. Now this tag that is on it has seen better days. I did see a recent sold for around $18 or so, which I thought was incredibly low for what this is. I mean, you know, I just think that this is a pretty neat little bear. There was at least one more listed, but I don't remember how much it was listed for. So I'm only into it for $7.50, and it might take a little while to sell, but I think I might be able to make some decent money on this. But I could be wrong. At another estate sale, this was the only items that I picked up. Definitely questionable buys. This is a LSU Tervis tumbler. It was $1. Everything was 50% off. This was 25 cents, and it is a Zing silicone popsicle maker. I may just keep that for myself. And this is a stain safe fabric care program. This wasn't marked anywhere, so I asked the lady how much it was, and she's like, how about just give me $3 for everything? And I did comp this, and I saw comps between $10 and maybe just over $20. So I'm like, all right, I'll do that. Well, I gave her the $3, and she immediately handed me $1 back. She's like, I don't even know why I told you 3. I should have said 2. So that's why that dollar is still sitting in there. So $2 for all of that. If I keep this for myself, I'm not sure how much this is going to sell for. Probably not much. It may never sell, but the only money is really going to come out of this. Another estate sale that I went to, I found this TRC 222 Radio Shack CB transceiver. I don't know if it works. The battery compartment is clean, so I do need to test this, but the antenna's good. It's not broken or anything like that. And comps on this are probably going to be $15 to $20. I'm guessing that this tape with the $5 price tag is probably from some garage sale they tried to have, because the estate sale doesn't mark their items with this. It was 50% off, so I've only got $2.50 into that. Next, I went to a garage sale and they had $3 fill-a-bag. So the first couple items that I threw in were for the Moose. It's this little vibrating dog toy. And this thing here, whatever it is. Oh, he's most interested in knowing where that sound is coming from. So I got those 2 for my dog. They had a few glasses that I picked up. 1993 Return of the Jedi. These 2 are just some Diet Pepsi glasses, and this is a Pac-Man glass. I didn't comp any of these, and I tried to comp them a few minutes ago, but for whatever reason tonight eBay is being extremely slow. They did have this Go Tigers, like a chip and dip tray. Let's see, the original pottery painter I don't know, was that JR or something? But I have seen some other chip and dip trays like this go for like $25, $30, $35. And since it was fill a bag, I stuffed that inside the bag. And they also, all right, this other stuff was just filler. It's like some kind of Mardi Gras pants or something. I don't really know much about those. Mardi Gras shirt, and that might be brand new. But I was really looking at these Build-A-Bear clothes. Now, I have had terrible luck with Build-A-Bears. As a matter of fact, the last Build-A-Bear I sold turned out to be the worst buyer I've ever had, if you saw that video. But I've had really good luck with the Build-A-Bear clothes. So they have this Santa outfit. I didn't copy any of these. Like I said, I was just stuffing stuff into the bag. Is that something Build-A-Bear? I don't know. The lady at the garage sale just said these are some Build-A-Bear clothes, so I took them and put them in. Is that it? I thought, yeah, there was something else in there. Yeah, so there's that. And I guess there's the shirt that goes with it. I don't know what this is. I'm not even sure I knew that was in there. Oh, that must be some Build-A-Bear pants. Okay, yeah, here's some more Build-A-Bear stuff. Like I said, I just picked up the whole stack. There's that shirt. And I guess that's some more Build-A-Bear pants. Yeah, it is. There it is. And these other things are just some regular Mardi Gras clothes that probably are not going to be very valuable. The last two items I picked up were these books. And it was the only two items that came from this particular garage sale. They didn't have a lot here. It was mostly bigger stuff like furniture. But there was a tote with some books. And I saw the tote, but there was a young guy there who was looking through the books. So I kind of stood close enough that I could see what was in there, but, you know, not to invade his personal space. And he's like, he saw that I was looking. He's like, no, man, you can come look. I'm like, no. You look through the books, and after you're done, then I'll look at them. And he was actually looking for cookbooks. Well, they didn't have a very good selection of cookbooks in there, but they did have these. We did not know there were multiples of these books. He pulled out one, and he was trying to comp it. He was using Google Lens, and for whatever reason, he wasn't having very good success. So I used eBay Lens, and I pulled up a couple comps of $20 and one for $75. So I said, hey, look, I said, I just pulled up an eBay comp as high as $75 and another one for $20. And so he ended up pulling out 3 more books. 2 of them had the medallion like they were supposed to, and 2 of them didn't. He said, well, look, man, he said, I'm going to take one of each, one with the medallion and one without the medallion. And he handed me the other 2, which were these, and he said, you take those. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, you take those. So I'm like, okay, I appreciate it. And they only wanted $1 for each of these books, so I ended up getting both of these for $2, just like he did. I think he might have ended up buying another book that had some old stamps or something in it. But either way, at this book, it should be a minimum of $20, maybe even up to $75. This one is probably not worth all that much without the medallion, but I'll have to do a little more checking and see. Someone in the comments had asked about my dog, and I haven't shown him in a video in a while. His name is the Moose, and he got that name because when he was born, his mom had a litter of 4 puppies, and the Moose was a big one. So when he came out, my ex-wife said, well, he's a moose, and the name just stuck. Unfortunately, his 3 siblings, they were a little bit premature, so they didn't make it. So he's the only survivor out of that litter. Usually, you probably only see him when he's in the background roaming around, but I appreciate people asking about him because, you know, pets are special, and I lost a pet last December, and, you know, he's part of the family. He's often in here trying to help me, but unfortunately, I've got a lot of stuff in here and he gets in my way, but usually when I'm in my eBay room, he's in here with me. As a matter of fact, no matter where I'm at, he's generally with me. But he's a Lhasa Apso. He's about 3 years old now, and he's a heavy sucker. I've had 4 Lhasa Apsos, and he is by far the biggest one. I'm guessing he's about 20 pounds at this point. I don't think he's much more than that, but none of the others have ever gotten that big. Usually the males will get a little bigger, but he's definitely a moose. All right. Ooh. Say hello to the camera, buddy. So he's looking a little bit shaggy because he needs to be cut, which is one of the drawbacks of Lhasa Apsos. They do have to be groomed regularly. I used to bring him to a groomer, but that's like $80 per trip, and he needs grooming very frequently. He could really use it about every 3 weeks, but I don't do it quite that often. Luckily, he's pretty good about letting me groom him. Now, he does not like baths, and I bathe him before I groom him because, you know, I need to wash his coat out so the clippers can go through. Otherwise, the clippers won't cut his hair. And then I give him a quick bath after I groom him just to get the hair and stuff off. And really, I couldn't imagine living alone without pets. Or right now, it's just a pet. But up until last December, I did have my Shih Tzu named Maggie. So earlier, I mentioned that I was going to do a Facebook Marketplace meetup. Well, I showed up at 4 o'clock like I was supposed to. But the buyer showed up at about 5 o'clock. At about 4:05, he sent me a message saying he was running about 15 minutes late. No big deal. But since I had to work tonight anyway, it was going to kind of work out. I could go meet him around 4. Then I could head out and maybe go do my work a little bit early, get back home and do some listing. So I kept waiting until about 4:40. And then I sent him another message just for him to confirm that he was still on his way. He said yes, he was in heavy traffic and he was going to be there shortly. So he ended up getting there right at 5 o'clock. So it does suck that I had to waste a complete hour of basically doing nothing but waiting for him. But I was going to be heading that way anyway to do some work tonight. But that was my first transaction on Facebook Marketplace that someone didn't show up right at or just around the time they were supposed to. For a minute, I thought he might have just been somebody messing with me, but as it turns out, he legitimately had issues getting there with the traffic. And I understand that because we've got some killer traffic around here. But once he showed up, transaction went off without a hitch. And the best part of that was no eBay fees. So I've packed a lot into this video. Usually my videos encompass most of the time at least 2 or 3 days, but I think this one's going to have to stand on its own. So without me rambling any further, I think that's going to be a wrap for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.